tattoo history when I started, because that's right when things were changing from those old guys and the plastic stencils and doing the same Coleman type stuff. That was it. If you didn't see it in the wall, we don't have it, right?
Mm-hmm. And you were probably one of the biggest influences in bringing.
Yeah, well, I probably just followed in on Hardy's footsteps, because him out of anybody in the West really brought that Japanese stuff to us, because I guess nobody was doing real big format stuff like back pieces that go to the bottom of the butt, the traditional size of that. It was like him and Cliff, and even Cliff's stuff wasn't very true to the Japanese stuff, but Hardy really studied it. His old lady Fran has been speaking Japanese, and they go back and forth for years, and he worked for Oguri and Gifu City back in the 70s and all that, so it's a legitimate thing, right? Mm-hmm. He probably got it from Sailor Jerry, because Sailor Jerry used to correspond with Oguri and those guys and see the work that, because Hawaii is such a big Navy place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen Tajagori one time in Toronto.
He's getting pretty thin these days.
Yeah. He was tattooing up on this platform and just draw a little bit and tattoo and draw a little bit. When you went over to see Horiyoshi, am I pronouncing that right, Horiyoshi?
Yep.
Okay. What was he like? Was he have a real strong work ethic? And
still works 6 days a week and half a day on Sundays.
Wow.
So yeah, and he likes to party. He likes to smoke, likes to drink beer and all that.
Yeah.
Not a druggie, but he really goes out. He only works an hour on each guy.
Okay.
And he changed, but the guys come for their regular appointments every week, and they're all sitting on the couch watching TV, and then the next guy goes. That was the hard thing about getting tattooed by him, because you had to kick one of the Yakuza guys out of his slot to get your souvenir, right?
Okay. And so going up into, when you went up to his place, mm-hmm. and how did that all transpire? That he took a shine to you and...
Well, again, they're big on the present giving, right? So I talked to Hardy before I went over there, and Hardy gave me his business card. And I went there. It was really, it was difficult to get to that spot, as I wrote in the book, mm-hmm. And you finally get there, introduce yourself, and then give them a present, and then they have to give you something that's better so they don't lose face, right?
Okay.
And then I give him something else, and goes, now I got to give you something, right? In the end, he let me photograph all his hand-painted back piece sheets, right?
Yeah.
Which was great. And then, of course, I'm going, I got no flash, and I'm trying to hold my camera and do it on the really long exposure and that. Yeah, it was fun. And then after we went, and I had a little Berlitz book on how to speak Japanese, right? And okay. There's a part in the book that says meeting people. So I was asked him, do you want to go have a beer after you're done working? But the way it's written in the book, it's in the female part, the polite way, and it sounds like I'm asking him for a date, right? He gives me this really weird look, right? And I'm going, no, okay. So we went to his place. He lives in a little tiny apartment, right? Mm-hmm. Phoned and got this sushi delivered. The guy comes on the bicycle with the big round tray, like that, the big lacquer box. And I said, what about the box, And they come the next day and pick it up, And then we're drinking shochu, which is a Japanese kind of potato vodka type stuff. They make a drink called Chu-Hai, which is lemon and soda water and shochu and ice, and then they crush it up in a little hand crusher, right? Mm-hmm. The wife still stands in the kitchen while she serves you and then goes and stands back, right? I don't know whether it's like that now, but that's what it was then.
Yeah.
And we're drinking these A&W mugs of booze, right? And then Nakano says, give me the book, right? And looks it up in the book and goes, heavy, Drink up.
No doubt. You still ride a bike, Paul?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My parents both had Harleys, and we grew up around that kind of lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of too was getting tattooed at that time too.
Yeah.
You know, it was real. All biker guys had tons of tattoos, and we're kind of pushing the envelope on that, getting bigger, crazier stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas the average citizens were still getting the one little, don't gamble with love or something, all that old Coleman kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Eagles, and I think that in that early 80s, late 70s time, it was album cover art all of a sudden came out, and there's the Frazetta stuff on Molly Hatchet, and a lot of people bringing record covers in, can you do this? Because that's the art that appealed to people at that time, and it was pretty new, because before that, all there was on records was pictures of the four guys in the band, Then they started coming out with all that psychedelic artwork. Well, that was kind of tricky to do with the plastic stencil. I did a couple back pieces with plastic stencils.
Yeah.
Trying to get it to go into the curve in the back without smearing. And usually if you could get the basic kind of outline of the thing in, then you could take a pen or whatever and fill in the little details.
Sure. Was anyone doing that kind of freehand stuff back then when you started?
Other than Dave Shore is the only guy I know in Canada that was doing it, but because the guys that were tattooing in Toronto then, Beachcomber and D and that era of guys were just whacking the stencils on as fast as they could, right? And still, that 70 outline style was still pretty popular then. So right around the early 80s, when I went to the second tattoo convention, the one that was in Sacramento, all of the East LA guys were there. Freddie Negretti and all them with all the single needle stuff. Nobody had ever seen that before. And kind of cool looking Mexican girl faces and, real trippy lettering and stomach rockers, and nobody was doing any of that stuff up here. So I think really the advent of the tattoo convention really opened it up for a lot of people, that sharing of ideas that you would have never seen,
Is that kind of what put you ahead of the game in Canada with the other guys?
Probably, because I still travel more than any of the guys, I mean, I never see, if they're going somewhere, I don't know where they're going, but I mean, I go to London and Milan and Rome and tattoo and all them places, and Dan Alston's the only guy I see.
Yeah.
But in general, there's really nobody. John the Dutchman doesn't like to travel. He likes to do his own stuff. And Dave, he used to see Dave when he worked in Amsterdam with Hank, We'd visit him there. But there's really not much for Canadian guys. And so when somebody's trying to start a new show and make a big deal out of it and want to have international guys, right? They always try and get Philip and Tintin and, the name guys. And they go, well, who would we get from Canada? So my name always comes up, right? So I get some free rides to Tahiti and stuff,
Oh, that's cool.
It's nice. I mean, it pays off that way for sure, right?
Yeah.
But I still go, I go to National. Yeah, I think I was roasted the year before last, which is kind of about the best honor you get in those guys. But National's been going 29 years. And I belonged to Dave Yerkew's club before that, because it was kind of like Yerkew's was a lot of the West Coast guys, and National was run by Philadelphia Eddie, and it was all East Coast guys.
You met that Philadelphia Eddie?
Oh, lots of times, yeah, he's a character.
Two drinks.
Two drinks, yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever we go. Even one time we were at a convention in Miami, and a bunch of us usually go out for a big dinner at some real snooty restaurant one of the nights of the convention, And we're at this place called The Forge in Miami Beach. It's got their claim to fame is they got a $10 million wine cellar and all that. Who shows up? Philadelphia Eddie with 2 drinks in plastic cups, right? Going into this restaurant. The guy goes, "Excuse me, sir, there's no outside liquor," right? He's going,
No doubt. I remember seeing pictures of him in magazines when I was younger, and you always seen him drinking.
Always, yeah, two-fisted drinker. He's got 4 shops in Philly. I think he's just sold them all, actually.
Okay.
But they're all run by biker guys, too. They're run by what the hell are those guys called now? Not one of the normal names. They're just a Philly or Pennsylvania bike gang. I can't think of the name now, but he rents 3 of the shops and he owns one of them, right? And I said, geez, I think you'd own all of these by now. He goes, well, the first one I bought, that's the one that's at Crack Central now. I can't even pay people to go there and get tattooed, you know?
Yeah.
He's a pretty funny guy. Like, a typical old school rounder. Drank and gambled pretty well all his money away.
So for you, what's kept you in the business all these years? Like, just kept going?
Yeah, I like tattooing, you know, and trying to do better all the time. There's still lots of young guys coming along that really give you a poke in the ass, you know. Good enough's never good enough. My style's still changing. I like to look in the photo album and see that stuff is maybe not exactly getting better, but just more professional, and like my compositions on big stuff, which is where most guys fall down. They're great if they got a picture this big and they can put it on your arm, but when they got to lay out a big field of stuff, all of a sudden they don't understand it. It's too big of a format, you know. And, I mean, like Philip's stuff is probably world leading in overall look of the body, where you look at it from 10 feet away and it still looks great, you know?
Yeah, you could read it from across the street.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to put a big chunk of black this big in there because it matches the big color area next to it. But it's hard to get customers to think that advanced, you know? There's a little space in my back. Can you put some skulls in there, or a couple of initials, or like dates? And quit putting all that crap in there, you know? And I really, you know, there's lots of young people now going for that really blammed on kind of new school, big clunky stuff, and getting it on their neck and forearms and hands and lettering them. I don't care how good a tattoo you are. Tattoos on your fingers are going to look shitty in 10 years. It doesn't matter how good you put them in, right? So you got these really nice looking 18-year-old girls with all that shit on them. They're going to be going crazy when that's no longer fashionable. When you're not the rockabilly, next generation rockabilly queen, you know. Now, wow, where did we go with this, you know?
Because traditional tattooers, they didn't typically do
Yeah, that's right. You know, I can still wear a suit and go to a nice restaurant. I don't have to go sit by the garbage can, right?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of life is that, right?
Yeah.
I think that the kind of the permanence of it should be stressed more than the fashion trendy thing. But I mean, when you got the TV shows, the Miami Ink and those guys, people take that, they look at the TV like it's the Bible, you know, same as the internet. If it's on there, it's got to be true. Well, fuck, I can put anything on there. I can say I'm an expert tattoo guy, and you can tattoo cow piss and they'll take your tattoo away. And I've seen it on the net though, right?
Yeah.
You people call all the time. Yeah, I heard about on the net. There's like this skin tone ink. Yeah, right.
You've schooled a lot of kick-ass tattooers across this country.
Well, most of the guys, like James Tex, real good tattooer, you know. He worked for me for 2 or 3 years. Brett worked for me for 10. I find a lot of people that I get phone calls from guys in shops back east that say, hey, there's some guy here says he worked for you. His name's Larry or something. I never even know Larry working for me, you know. They'll try and use my name to get a job, right? And I only ever taught 3 people to tattoo from the start, you know, like do the official apprenticeship and all that stuff, right? Bill Baker, the guy that runs Icon, right? And Vince Rocco, Bob Graverson, and John the Dutchman worked for me really early, and he'd only been tattooing about a month when he came and worked for me. And he worked for Curly, and Curly just gave him a machine and said, go ahead. Well, how do I do it? Yeah, you can draw. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. So he worked for me for about a year and a bit, maybe a year, and he didn't like the cold, you know.
Mm-hmm. So Casey told me to ask you about wiffle shading. He didn't tell me what it was, and he just kind of smiled and laughed.
Yeah. That comes from a guy from down at your neck of the woods there, Sailor Fred from Windsor.
Okay.
That's the old wiffle shade, and you just got to hold the shader and fill it right in.
Yeah. It's funny, my first month of tattooing, I went to London and, was trying to get one of them guys to apprentice me and...
Oh, Al Newcomer, one of them characters, yeah.
And then I landed in Gene Dishman's shop, and Sailor Fred was coming in there, and just kind of sitting every other day in the shop. Well, Gene had me do a tattoo, and he liked it, so he hired me, and I only lasted a month in that shop, and he was far too dirty. And so I just ended up...
That's why him and Fred get along good. Stood on the floor while you're working.
Yeah. So did you actually meet Fred and...
He had a shop here.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. He had a couple of shops, real, the kind of basement room type places. He lived he was married to some Mexican bride. He lived up the street here. That's when Bill Baker was working for me, so that'd be 85 era. Mm-hmm. He had a couple of shops, just kind of come and go. He was quite sick then. Then he moved to Nanaimo. Somebody sent me a picture of his shop, and he had done a banner above the window, like a little narrow storefront, with a banner, and it said something like "Fine Tattooing," but he couldn't get all the letters in the end. They were all jammed. Perfect. He gave me a bunch of junk. He gave me rolls of wire for winding coils and a bunch of these horrible bronze frames, cast frames that were all crooked, and some other crap,
Yeah.
Sailor Freddy used to come in and bug Bill Baker all the time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Bill hated him. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he was telling me spooning the needles. He said he'd take the needle and he'd pound it all out and make it into a spoon. And
oh, yeah? No, I never heard that one.
Yeah. I guess he made up quite a few stories on Sailor Fred.
Yeah. He gave me a piece of flash, and it was like a skull and crossbones. Really, it looked like it was done with a crayon on illustration board.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you just whiffle that in there in about 15, 20 minutes and get the outline in, just...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of back from those old guys, that smoke cigars while they're working and spit on the floor. Yeah, he would have loved that whole bucket sponge thing, carnival style,
Yeah.
No rules. Have a drink, have a bottle there, give the customer a drink when you have a drink. So that was the way it was, even guys like Gil Monty kind of carry that on. Like Gil says, that's not about the tattoo. It doesn't matter what the tattoo looks like. It's whether the guy had a good tattoo experience.